Another round of applause. That was a lot of information in there, and a lot more information coming your way. This next session is very, very exciting to me and intriguing to me. We'll turn the session to exploring hero ingredients, which is kind of the theme this morning, in regenerative agriculture. Mark Serice from Griffiths Food has led groundbreaking research on these ingredients, and Chef Shonah Chalmers has worked with him to develop a module on this topic, which will soon be available in the World Chefs Academy, which is pretty crazy to think this is all happening. So please welcome to the stage Mark and Shonah.
Good morning, good morning. Hi, I'm Shonah and Mark Serice here. I want to ask you a question before we get started. So chefs, how many of you have seen an ingredient not available or maybe go up in price or maybe it's not the way it was 2 years ago? I'm sure some of you can say, yeah, I've seen something like that. Everybody, right? So we're talking to everybody today. That's what it is. So over the last few years, there's been thousands of chefs that have taken our sustainability curriculum. You've all seen it. You've heard me talk about it. It's not enough. Sustainability is not enough anymore. You have learned about how to waste less. You've learned about less energy use, less water use. All these things are amazing tools, but this is not looking at what the future needs for food. What the future needs for food is regeneration. So we've created, together, Mark and I, a great piece of curriculum that you can have very soon. We'll talk to you about when. And we're just going to give you an overview sort of what that looks like right now. Mark,
Yeah, so when we think about the theme of the Congress this year, which is pasture, passion, and plate, this fits in so perfectly with what we're going to have as a discussion today. We are experiencing an emergency in slow motion. It's probably not news to anybody here, but it's going in slow motion because it's happening right before our eyes. We simply cannot feed a world of 10 million people the way we are feeding a world of 8 million people. This may seem like a long period of time off before we reach 10 million, which they projected by 2050, but we're already experiencing this. We certainly are experiencing it in the food service industry with higher cost constraints, supply chains. And how are we going to do this without sacrificing quality or sustainability? Guaranteeing that we have enough food for that 10 million people is going to require some radical rethinking about our agricultural business. The whole system is going to have to be looked at in a different way. Currently, we have a very industrial, linear model of agriculture. It is based on yield. It is based on the higher the yield, the greater. It is 4 products, 4 crops that make up over 85% of the food grown on Earth for human consumption. That diversity-free system of 4 ingredients is heavily, heavily reliant on intensive chemical inputs, fertilizers, to the soil. Cropping and farming practices that are going on right now, and that intensive use is stripping the soil of its much-needed natural nutrients and the natural systems that regrade it. So, what does that mean? Again, okay, what am I? Who am I? I am just one, right? but every decision you make in your kitchens either ensures the sustaining of the current practices or for accelerating change. Doesn't seem like that simple decision makes that big of a difference, but it does. So let's talk about sustainability. And Shonah mentioned, we're going to have to move beyond sustainability. So let's think about sustainable agriculture and what does it mean? Sustainable agriculture, in the word, means to sustain, to keep it the same, to have a guarantee that it'll meet society's current needs today without sacrificing the needs for the future generations. The math doesn't add up. If we keep the way we're going at 10 billion people, it's not going to work. So the proposal is, as one proposal, there's several, but one proposal is to look at regenerative agriculture. And regenerative agriculture is proposed as a means of producing food that has a lower or even positive net environmental impact. At its core, it's focused on the soil. It's focused on retention of moisture. It's focused on naturally putting inputs back into the soil rather than putting chemical fertilizers and pesticides to increase yields. Directly enhances the quality of the crops. So in order for this to happen, there are three levers that need to happen. The first of which is technical support. Farmers have been growing that same industrial linear model for over 100 years. What we're proposing is that it goes back to what it was before 100 years, closer to that, the way we used to farm. But our farmers today need technical support from agronomists, from scientists, from others that can help them understand how to get back to the way we were. The second lever that's going to operate regenerative agriculture is cultural acceptability. And hold on to this because that's where we come in. But the cultural acceptability is there has to be a want and need for people that are consuming food to want something better for our planet rather than just yield. And then the third is financial incentives. And let's just really be honest. Farmers are not going to grow anything that they can't make money from. So there's going to have to be financial incentives from governments, from other areas of business, as was heard earlier in the last conversation we had. But if we go back and talk about the cultural acceptability and the role of the culinarian. So what do we have to do with this? These are massive levers to control big agriculture. But we do have a part in this. And part of that is within the cultural acceptability is we can drive biodiversity within our menus and with our recipes. We can help create that cultural shift by having enough of this on our menus that are drawing attention from those patrons that visit our restaurants, hotels, and food service locations. The promotion of small farm holders. Now, a lot of you, or many of you, may have small farmers that you use within your operations, and you promote that. And I think chefs do a pretty good job of that. But are we really understanding and are we really promoting it more today than we were 5 years ago? I'm not sure. Then it's the creative exploration of the cover crops. If you're growing something sustainably or you're growing something regeneratively, in particular, the cover crops that are used between seasons are what are putting nutrients back into the soil. Today, most cover crops are used to either be thrown away or they're animal feed. Can we as culinarians, as chefs, can we think about food uses for some of these cover crops to make them the stars that are helping for that regenerative future? And then we have the culinary development of hero crops, which is the title of this. Well, it actually is close to the title of this presentation. But hold on for 1 second. But I want to cover the last point here is our biggest role is to be the ambassadors. We're the ones preparing the food. And if we're talking about sustainability and we're talking about regenerative future, who better than the people in this room to make it tangible? We talk about water usage, we talk about energy usage, we talk about waste minimization, we talk about all of those things, but can we take sustainability or a regenerative future and put it on a plate? That's our job. We tell stories every day. That's our job as chefs, to tell the story through our food. So, hero crops. A little bit of background. A hero crop, or is any crop that brings tangible ecosystem benefits through the existing agriculture, through biodiversity, through input intensity, and crop rotation. Great. It's a broad level definition. It's so bureaucratic. But as chefs, we don't use crops. We use ingredients. Crops are usually processed in some way or another. It's either hulled, milled, ground, washed. Something is done to it. So ingredients, hero ingredients, is better terminology for us because it relates to our pantry. What do we keep in our pantry? So, what are hero ingredients? It's any ingredient that has a significant impact on the ecosystem and society. That's key. It has to have an impact on society. Impact is also a key word here. Given the regenerative and sustainable, and what we're talking about is sustaining the regenerative practices, used for its production. That's any production, whether it's coming from the field or in our kitchens. Its nutrient density and its broad scalability on current menus. Not every ingredient can be a hero ingredient that's sustainably grown. We're going past that, remember. And there's 4 criteria that we're looking at to judge whether any ingredient is a hero ingredient. The first of which is regenerative and sustainable. And I talked about the regenerative practices used to grow these ingredients is sustainable. It's not a one-off. Then there's scalability. These are not niche ingredients. These are ingredients that can be used in multiple different applications. Generally, they are closer to grains or legumes or something that has broad appeal across a wide array of the population. It needs to be affordable. We saw this years ago when people started doing organic or biologique, that the expense was too high. So the affordability is key, because if it's too expensive, people aren't going to buy it. They're going to choose something else. They're going to choose our linear industrial model. And then nutrient density. Studies have shown, and there's lots of them out there, that well-maintained soils that are managed very well with water and input intensity produces crops that have higher macro and micronutrients. So just the mere fact of the farming practices create nutrient density. Keep a hold of these 4 criteria. Shonah is going to walk through those and the questions to ask yourself. Remember, when we're talking about hero ingredients, it is a mindset and a process. It's not just a bullet point list. It's a mindset and a process. So some key thoughts. Hero ingredients are simply the tools of creation of recipes and concepts that have environmental, societal, and nutrition impact. And I'll repeat that. Environmental, societal, and nutrition impact. The collective impact that we all do, chefs and the farmers, is what's going to move the needle from sustainability to a regenerative future. There's a couple of key things to note. When we're talking about hero ingredients, whatever that ingredient may be, not all sources of that ingredient can be called a hero ingredient. Millet from India that's grown regeneratively is not the same as the industrially produced millet in the Midwest of North America. So it goes back to how it's grown, where it's grown, and who's growing it. And it takes diligence for us as chefs to figure that out or to understand that. So not all hero ingredients are the same. The entire recipe or dish should be compounded. A single ingredient's great, multiples, or even the whole recipe. And I'll show you an example of that shortly. Ambassadorship. We've talked about this briefly before, is that we have the ability to talk about those ingredients. We have the ability, whether that's through social media, or whether that's through our peers, or through our customers. Remember, it's going to take that storytelling to create that cultural shift, to move that lever for cultural acceptability. Promote the small farm holder far more than we're doing today, and the ingredients that are coming from that and why they are hero ingredients being used. And probably the most important part of this is it relies on you, and the hero ingredients are only as good as the data that you know. So it's only as good as the information that you're able to obtain. How it's grown, where it's grown, what's the nutrient content, how affordable it is. It's our responsibility to do that due diligence in determining this. So I'm going to hand it over to Shonah, who's going to talk about that 4 criteria and how to meet that criteria. What are the questions that you need to ask yourself to determine whether any ingredient is a hero ingredient moving forward?
So we're all busy. We all know we have a lot to do. We're not looking to lay guilt on you. We're not looking to lay heavy onto you. We're not looking for you to do more work. We're looking for you to find an ingredient first, to find something that you could put to your recipe, that you could share the story about, that you can say is a hero ingredient, that you can lift up a farmer about, that meets this criteria. So I like to have things I can actually check off the list and understand. We need to have SMART goals, ways we can measure this, right? So as Chef had said, is it regenerative and sustainable? So how do I know that? I'm not the regenerative, well, I'm a bit of a sustainable gal, but I am not, and we are not regenerative specialists. But we can talk to the people that we're getting that one ingredient from. You can talk to your suppliers and find out how it's made. Is it upcycled? Is it cover crop? Is it something that checks this box? And we have in this curriculum a way of measuring this. This is not just pie in the sky ideas that we want to put something out that doesn't help you. This is something to truly help you. Next is the scalability. Now, Mark, when he first explained this to me, I'm like, I don't know, I can use it a little, I can use it a lot. Is it saffron that you're going to use a tiny little pinch in? Really not scalable, and you're not going to be able to use it in a million different ways. But if you could use it here, and maybe a little bit here, and on an appetizer there, and you can multi-use it, and it can be done for a bigger scale, and the farmers can make enough of it so that they're actually making money at doing this, this is scalable. Yay, we checked second box. Now we're on to the third, affordable. We all know we don't go for the highest price item. You shouldn't go for the cheapest item. We go for somewhere in the middle. So is it affordable, and where is that affordability scale? Will your customers pay for it? Maybe only if you tell them the story. Maybe only if you tell them that this is how much greatness it's doing for our soils, for our food, for the future. You're not just taking something and not replacing it with something else. So this piece here, on the scale, if you have it out of 100, it's probably 10 or 20%. It's not your biggest decision factor. This one here, I again am not a nutritionist. I eat healthy when I can, and we do it as chefs. But we have, thanks to Chef Mark Serice and their company, a nutrient density calculator. I'm so excited. I wanted to show it, but I want you to do the curriculum to see it. You can put in any ingredient, and it gives you the math and gives you a scale from A to F. A, in school, B, C, D, E, F, fail, right? So is it really nutrient dense? Does it give you a lot per gram? Is it giving real positive nutrient to the person eating it? Then yes, now you've done your 4-piece checklist. Now, if you're hitting above an 80%, you have a hero ingredient. It is so simple to figure out with this tool. It is not leaving you on your own, letting it twist. I see our timer is coming fast. But we have...
So just to show you an example, and we'll have this sample available at the coffee break out in the lobby. But it's a very simple, very mass-accepting dish made with millet falafel. Not only did we use hero ingredients within this recipe, the whole recipe applies those 4 criteria, whether that is the regenerative practices used for the ingredients, we've added additional nutrient density, we've made sure that it was affordable through the ingredients here, and compounded those. And this is for anybody. I mean, such a simple dish. It could be for QSR restaurants, it could be hotels, it could be restaurants. You could scale it up or scale it down, hospitals, military, etc. It certainly meets or exceeds, in this particular list, the protein. So we have as much protein in about 3 quenelles as a small chicken breast. We measured it against global nutrition standards to make sure we were not excessive in salt, sugar, and saturated fat. 45% of the recipe here included a hero ingredient grown out of India. And of course, it's perfect for nutritious and sustainable menus.
So exciting. So we have done complete, comprehensive curriculum. It's the same as the other topics that we've done from 1 to 8 if you've done any of the sustainability. It is doable in probably about 40 minutes, an hour-ish. It has quizzes in it. It has all the pieces. It has not been released yet, but mark your calendars, June 23rd. It is a Tuesday. We, live, will be sharing with anyone who is interested in training. This is not a sales pitch, but it is a little. Because I want you to be there. I want you to hear about it. If you want to learn about it, if you want to do it, because it's not going to be put out electronically, like for everyone to just do on their own. I want you to do it in person. I want you to give us feedback. I want you to do it and feel it and know about it and go through the process. And then later we'll put it to electronic and you could do it. But meet us on June 23rd. And if this sparks any conversation for you today, or you think, I have some questions, I'm not really sure, this doesn't feel clear, we are going to have a fabulous table outside with samples of the recipe that Chef Mark had shown you on the screen at the break time today. So come on out. We've got some cool jars with some hero ingredients inside of there as well, so you can have the discussion, see what that looks like. Please join us there. And that's our shtick for today. Thank you all.
The QR code.
Sorry? Oh, yeah. If you want to join us on June 23rd, scan this QR code. Meet us there live. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you for that.